Folks, Spec Ops Monkey here. Today, I want to talk to you a little bit about satellite phones. If you've ever been in a situation where comms are down, you realize very quickly how critical it can be to reach out and touch someone in the event of an emergency. Whether you're popping smoke for an exfil, in a remote location where there is no cell coverage, in a natural disaster, or just off the grid, having a satellite phone in your quiver can be a real game changer. And one of the beauties of the sat phone is that it can also be used without giving up your precise location, unlike a cell phone. All you need is an open sky, and the satellites will do the rest. Now, for my sat phone needs, I use a satellite phone store, as they have several options, as well as lots of different plans available to fit your needs. Plus, they have a ton of accessories, like Faraday pouches, hard cases, etc. They also have an exclusive offer for the Monkey Nation. Just go to sat123.com/monkeywerx via the link in the description box below, or call 619-399-3800 and tell them Monkey sent you. That is good coffee.
All right, welcome, folks. Spec Ops Monkey here. This is going to be your SITREP for Friday, and Shabbat Shalom. This is man, what a wild time we live in. Without further ado, hey, make sure to, before we get over to our screen, hit that like, subscribe, and bell for notification, just to make sure you guys are getting it out latest and greatest. And remember also, if you want to support the show, you can do so over on Patreon, or you can become a member on YouTube for as little as about $3 a month, at least Patreon. And so, all right, there. Without further ado, let's take a look. This is going to be actually, this is Bob Marley. She is coming back out of Poland. It looks like this is going to be the SAM Flight 526. Note that it does not say Air Force 2. The data point. It seems like, at least for this administration, when they travel abroad, they do not. They don't really use. I take that back. Flashbang used Air Force One when he went abroad. Bob Marley seems to be laying low, a little SAM 526. But that is going to be one of your blue and whites rolling through the area there. And so I don't know if you guys had the chance to see this. I don't really watch the news too much. This is actually just a data point that came up on Newsmax the other day or yesterday. But I want to point out something here real fast. This is Harris when she's asked about bringing Ukrainian refugees to the United States. And I just want to show you her reaction when she was asked that question. Far different than what you would see or that we saw from the Afghanis, which, remember, the Afghanis, 99.9% of those poppies are Muslims. And they're bringing them over here in the droves. Probably 150,000 of them were brought into the United States. And then you've got another 2,000 a month that are coming in now. Okay, but I want to point that out because the reason this is a good data point and just as a comparison is because if you know anything about Ukraine, 71% of the population there are Christians. And so to see her laugh just shows that she doesn't take this seriously. You talk about unprofessional. Man, what an embarrassment to our country. So anyway, I just want to point that out. But this is, that's her coming back out of, she was up here in Warsaw, but this is the last 12-hour track, and she's actually airborne right now over Prahova, Romania, and at about 21,000 feet. Okay, so there's that. Now, I'll just point out some of the aircraft in the general area as we speak. You got a B-703 up here, that's red eye. We're going to look at that closer. Some of the heavy lifts, you can see the Airbus C-17 here, air refueler down here, a couple, actually 3 tankers in this area. That's going to be a heavy lift, German heavy lift, A400, and then a C-17 also in the region. But we're going to look at that closer in just a second. Just wanted to point that out. The other thing, too, I did want to show you, and we'll get into this in just a minute. We talk about this Omnibus bill that's getting pushed through. Folks, we're getting raped and pillaged in this situation, and this, I'm shocked by what's going out there, and especially when you just see the vice president laugh at the Christian Ukrainians that are basically running and fleeing for their lives because of a situation that has been put upon them. And Part of the plan, folks. Okay. And don't lose sight of that. All right. Now let's get over here real fast. I do want to look. We're going to take a look at the EU and at the heavies. Now this was the activity here early this morning and throughout the day. You can see a lot of heavy lift going on. Notice that they're starting to come down towards the southern tip or the southern point of Italy. All right. And they're also starting to move some assets down to the southern side of Europe. Okay. That is important to note because if you look at Russia and in terms of their assets and where they have them placed, you get down here into Benghazi. So this is Libya here. But the Russians have, the Soviets or the Russians, whatever you want to call them these days, they have actual military assets. They've taken over this airfield in Benghazi. Okay, after our little debacle, they came in, set up shop, and now they have A300, A400 missile systems, surface-to-air missile systems, mobile systems, as well as aircraft and assets here in Benghazi. So they've set up shop there. So when you see us setting up stuff down in this area and down in southern Europe, it's because Russia has a presence down here in this northern Africa, Libya kind of area, okay? So just want to point that out. We don't want to lose sight of that because it is important, and it'll be more important coming up in the future when this whole thing goes hot, okay? And when I say whole thing goes hot, I'm talking World War III, and it's going to be Europe. Now, remember, history, if it repeats itself, World War I, World War II both kicked off. That's you're talking about European, or it didn't kick off, but they, were in Europe. That was where they were. There wasn't American-based soil. That was European soil. Of course, we had the whole issue with Japan too, right? But that's the focus here is this with NATO. Okay. All right. Let me get down here again. I want to show you. Let's get into the EU tankers. We looked at the heavies, just so you can see. Air refuelers are up. That means we got a lot of fighters in the region. You're not going to see the fighters because we just typically don't. But those guys are right there along the border. So it looks like we are still supporting some fighter aircraft up in that general region running routes. And then we get over here to the R-135s and the snoopers. I want to point out that the C-135 at the bottom of your screen called Total 91, that is a sniffer that's doing nuclear sniffing stuff, okay? The red eye is a 703, and that is accompanied by another R-135 in the region that was a Ukraine, and those are map and battlefield stuff, okay? We're going to talk a little bit more about the R-135, the E6, etc. Shortly, all right? But wanted to kick that off just to show you what we're doing over there today, what's been going on, okay? And let me also just double check. Let's get over here to the U.S. heavies. I will tell you, it's been kind of light this morning. A lot of C-130s up. Seems to be very southeast, northeast centric. At least that was where it was earlier. Now we're going to get into Skyglass here real fast and take a closer look and see where we are at the moment. We do have some additional E6 activity over Florida, as well as Night Watch. The Doomsday Bird just took off out of Patrick Air Force Base about 5 minutes ago. And I know that because I got eyes on the ground right there. So data point, but you got something going on down in Florida. At least, let me just put it this way. Let me get down here to our E6. Let me do our sort by aircraft. Let's get to our, there's our E3s. Here's our E6. All right, let me have that take us over here to, go ahead and make that one of my favorites. All right, come on, baby. Let's go. All right, this is going to be your E6 down in this general area. Now it is kind of pulling up my favorites. But now this is the, just for those not familiar with this is an airborne command center, E6. I've called it Looking Glass a couple times. It's because it replaced Looking Glass, and I am not, I didn't get that right, I'll be honest with you. It is, if we kind of go into the history of this, just to show you what we're looking at. This is the E6 aircraft, Airborne Command Center. It talks basically to the ICBMs. But if we get down into this, it actually goes by TACAMO, which is Take Charge and Move Out. That's what it stands for. It's an acronym. But it basically took the place of this one, which is looking glass, which is our R135s. Our R135s, this is an EC-135. That's the Air Force variant, okay? Now, for the Doomsday plane, so if you hear me talk about looking glass, that's what I was talking about. It was it's actually the R135s is the looking glass. This is the E6 Mercury, which is the Takamo. And then this, you'll hear me talk this one, E4 Night Watch. This is the one that just took off out of Patrick Air Force Base just a minute ago. And this is, that's, for those not familiar with Patrick Air Force Base, that's in the Cocoa Beach area. Okay, that's right down there, Central Florida, East Coast. But this is your Doomsday plane. All right, it looks a lot like Air Force One, but that is your Doomsday plane. All right, and so we've got the E6s in Florida. We've got this one in Florida. Who else is in Florida? Maybe Trump. I don't know. Make you kind of wonder why you got your commands flying and doing all this fun stuff down in this general area when you got your POTUS up here in D.C. So I don't know. It's just a data point. Not saying there's something going on. I'm just saying it's an interesting data point that we would be flying and doing a lot of work down here in this area, knowing who's down there. Okay. So, all right. Now let me just get in to, let me make sure I got everything covered here. All right. Let's get back over here to Sky Glass real fast. But you can see this one's running that route. Looks like it is actually over. If it'll give me an actual location. It's not. So that's okay. All right, let me pull this up. We're going to see if we can't get a good look at what is going on in terms of, got 3 R135s up right now, so we're going to hit those. Got the E6 up. Those are going to be our primaries, and let's see where those bad dudes are. All right, so we've got 3 of them. So here's your 3 R135s over the U.S. right now. That's our Top Cat. And then this one here, I think the Chappie one, this is going to be over across the drink. But coming out of Omaha, looks like, General or Lincoln, that general area. And I'm not sure which ones these are, if these are going to be rivet joints or if they're going to be the other ones. Normally the Snoop one is the, there's a Chap, sorry, there's Chap 140, Top Cat. Anyway, those are Airborne Command. Again, like I said before, these are actually looking glass. Okay, so just a little data point. Let me back out of that. We're going to take a look at a current C-17 activity. We've got 20 of them up. Not all of those are U.S. based, but we're going to get kind of an idea of what the routes look like. 11 C-130s, and then these little C-130Js. I'm not sure. If the problem with all of the systems, they don't really tell you if it's an AC-130J or just a C-130J. There is a big difference if you look at the AC. That's basically a gunship, but these could just be transports. So there may be a couple blended in there with this, but this really gives you a beautiful kind of synopsis on how everything is being moved across the United States. So you can see the Northeast is really popping, Southeast, and it looks like we've got a couple long jets going across the U.S. Here today. So this is actually all active as we speak, within the last 12 hours, all right? Okay, got a lot to cover, so I'm going to back out of this, and I'm going to show you a couple things. We'll look at this maybe a little bit more. You can see a couple 3 ships headed westbound, but that's really what we're looking at in Sky Glass. So, all right, get over here and look at Flashbang's schedule for today. You guys will see when we get into the TFRs that he is, let's see here. This is just propaganda, right? They want to just get any data point they can. They put it on a schedule so people can see it's all just lip service, all right? May as well say he's playing Candy Crush because he's really not doing anything about it. Just, announces actions to hold Russia accountable. We're going to look at that closer here in a second because it is biting us right in the backside. Now, notice here, too, that he's headed to, headed to Philadelphia. He's going to be sitting with a classroom. I guess he's looking at some of the money being spent on schools and et cetera. And then you got this guy here who's going to be gaggling on Air Force One, such a professional term. But I also want to show you at the end here that the Deputy of Homeland Security, Secretary of Homeland Security, sorry, not deputy, but the Homeland Security was just in Philly just 12 hours ago. So anyway, But it said he was sitting down with some elementary school kids. And I remember last time we saw a president sit down with some elementary school kids and reading a book, 9/11. So kind of an interesting data point, especially when you hear the Kremlin talking about Friday evening is going to be a beautiful, beautiful thing here. We also note that he is headed to his bunker at about 3:50 this afternoon. Now, I don't know how long he's going to be there, but that's Camp David. And then it looks like, according to this, as we segue over, looks like he's going to be headed home this weekend because we do have the same stuff up over his area where he lives too. So, well, I say that is Philly. And so this is where he's, I don't know, he maybe just headed to Camp David. This may only be Philly for them. Okay, yeah, maybe not his home. Okay, all right, sorry, when you zoom in, it looks a little different, doesn't it? So we still have this security TFR over this area. Now, somebody sent me the launch plans for everything, and that's including everything from U.S. to Russia, so NASA to Falcon X. And there's nothing going on here that's going to indicate it is a shuttle launch. It doesn't even say space operations, it says security. So there's something going on in this general region. And then these are air shows. This is Beale Air Force Base. But that, for the most part, is going to be your TFRs, okay? All right, let's break away from that. Now, here's the Omnibus thing. Remember, we got a good laugh when they were talking about bringing Ukrainian Christians over to the U.S. Never happened in a million years, but we'll bring, a metric ton of Muslims to the U.S., set them up nicely. So, but check this out. This Omnibus bill basically is funding border security for 8 foreign nations. $0 for the U.S. border security, and $370 million being allocated to enhance border security measures in Jordan, Lebanon, Egypt, Tunisia, Oman. Yeah, let that sit in. And then some additional funding for Libya, Nepal, and Pakistan. Absolutely mind-boggling, folks, that they would take your hard-earned tax dollars and send them abroad for border security when we can't even handle our own. I'm telling you, this is all planned, and the things that are happening at our southern border are all by design. We are basically being sold up the river, and our government is doing it to us. All this stuff going on in Ukraine, mark my word, this is all part of the plan. We are responsible for every bit of it. Now, let's talk a little bit about this real fast. I just want to touch base because some folks are going to be new, don't know about this. There's others going to be like, yeah, dude, we've been following this for a while. Get into the Great Reset. This is going to be your World Economic Forum. This is Klaus Schwab and his book, Social Instability, Involuntary Migration. There's a lot of stuff in here that is all part of their plan to execute, okay? Now, the interesting thing is if you start looking at the players that have been through his school of thought for a 5-year program, you're going to start to see that there are quite a few influencers and world leaders that have been through it. Names like Macron, names like Merkel, names like Newsom from California, names like Buttigieg from the U.S., who is currently our Secretary of Transportation for the U.S. We got supply chain issues. Imagine that. But there are world leaders that have been through this course that are now sitting on many of the governments around the world, as well as key positions in leadership and media. There are senators. Note that Jafar guy there, third one down on the left. Seen that name before, right? Uranium One. He owns Gulf Tainer, and his dad was the nuclear scientist that supported Saddam Hussein. So Batranova, or whatever her name is up there, Maria Batranova, that's Fox News Business. She's the one that talks in the mornings on Fox News Business. So, yeah, Putin, Zelensky, Ivanka Trump, all of them have been through this class, and it's all part of. I'm telling you, this is all by plan, by design. Okay. All right. Now let's look at something else that I thought was very interesting as we watch this oil sanction basically punch us right in the wallets. That's you and me, the citizens of this country. as they send $13.8 billion to Ukraine, and they supply them and fund them for their war. And as we watch them, the gas prices go above $5 here on average, headed towards probably $10 to $12 a gallon, and basically it's gonna bring our economy to a screeching halt. Now, Russia is saying they have enough oil and gas buyers, even with the sanctions, that they're not going to feel any impact. Meanwhile, we're getting punched right in the wallet, right? Now, check this out. This is something that was shocking to me. Did you know that the United States is the #1 oil producer in the world? Yeah, 18.61 million barrels a day. Now, we consume about 22 million barrels a day. That means we'd have to increase that by about 4 million in our daily output barrels a day, which would not be hard to do, to be honest with you, given that we evidently are sitting on quite a bit, all right? And not to mention reserves, everything else. There's no excuse, really, for our gas prices to be going through the roof when we are the #1 exporter of oil to the world, all right? 20% of the world's share. Russia's at 11%. They provide us about 8% of our 8 to 12%, I guess, is the range what they provide the U.S. in terms of our oil, right? So, but I just want to point that out. So, yeah, we're getting bamboozled and sold up the river. That is a data point that nobody's really talking about. Why are we out looking for oil from Venezuela and other countries when all we got to do is step up our own production? I don't know. Or maybe start up the Keystone again, right? That's a long-term plan, but yeah. All right, now let's talk a little bit more about what's going on over here at Forward Observer for the day. I just want to show you some of the bullet points, and we'll get into these a little closer. Early warning threats. Looks like there is a real hard look at U.S. biological preparedness. Our senators and congressmen and the yahoos that are stealing from us blind are basically talking about this being the next big threat, that this is really what they're worrying about. And that's not like downstream 2 years from now. That's actually now. This is what they're worried about, saying we're not even remotely prepared for it. But if you get into it, just some of the bullets, Mexicans worrying about, the president's worrying about a coup down in Mexico. And then this right here in focus on U.S. biological stuff. So let's go down, take a look. Why are they worried about biological? Maybe it's because they got caught with all of that biological facilities in Ukraine. That was supposedly a conspiracy theory. All right. But this is their intelligence threat assessment. And you can see these are the players that they are really concerned about right now. Russia, North Korea, China, Iran. It's a no-brainer. We knew that before. These guys are all on the move. You're going to see China make some big moves here very, very soon on Taiwan. I'll bet my life on it, okay? Now, check this out. This is over on Zero Hedge. Came out today that Russia is now calling for UN Security Council meeting over biological activities in the Ukraine. Remember all the facilities they had stood up. We had several folks that were saying, oh, that's conspiracy, never really happened. As you saw, our own government trying to clean up and delete pages and websites. The problem is all the history of the data was already out there. We've got everything from news reports about the facilities from 5-6 years ago to budgets being passed within the Defense Act and all kinds of different funding profiles showing that we were actually doing that. So unfortunately, it's kind of hard to go back and do that when you've been caught on camera saying the things and doing that stuff. Okay, so this is a big deal. Obviously, they have something, or they wouldn't be going to the UN Security Council to have that discussion. Okay. All right. Now let's get over here. Let's take a look. I'm gonna get this thing flattened out because the round map is a little bit much right now when we're looking. So just kind of an idea of what's going on cyber threat wise with the attacks. Doesn't look to be too heavy today just yet. That could change, but you can see U.S. has got a lot of activity. Looks to be outbound. Imagine that. Same thing over here. Not too much coming out of here except for in the southern region. And you get into the Ukraine area. This is going to be a Black Sea in Ukraine. Looks like they've got an active campaign going to. Note the directions of these are going out from the country, not into the country. All right. Okay, let's see what they're watching live. We've got a couple aircraft that are up. This one seems to be the biggest one everybody's looking at. That's going to be air refueler that's up over the region. Black Sea here. So yeah, that's something we were just looking at on Spyglass. We'll back up. We're already looking at these things. And if we get an active look at the volcanic ash alerts for pilots, these are still popping. This is going to be up in Japan. This is in Indo. And this is Central and South America. Kind of the normal deal, right? And so these are the alert boxes. As you can see, that's probably the biggest one we got coming out of Central America right now. Okay, now we got to zing on through this other stuff. This is going to be your current flights. This is Omni Express. Just these are going to be mainly troop movers, except for that one coming out of Valley. That is going to be immigrant related, and so they're either bringing people in or taking people out. Don't know, right? Get over here to our Canberra flights. We don't have anything. That's going to be U.S. troop movement stuff. I don't see anything on the map as we speak for today right now, at least active, okay? This is going to be the UK's variant of our Canberra U.S. troop movers. And you can see these guys got 5 or 6 flights up. And if we get into the area, you're going to notice they are starting to ease more into this general area. This is one that's down again. You get into Libya, Benghazi, that area is where Russia has a lot of presence. So it looks like NATO is actually repositioning itself or geo-positioning itself with some forward operating bases to counter anything coming out of this area when it all goes hot. Okay. All right. Over here, Guantanamo Bay. Looks like a normal day. I've got the Uber for the Legal Eagles coming out of Jacksonville. And then we've got this happening here in Norfolk. And then we've got our normal Tuesday, Friday flight that comes out of that area. Also, nothing on the board that looks to be out of the norm. Okay. Now, do want to point out real fast. You may remember we've been looking at the Phoenix Air flights pretty regularly up until just the last couple weeks, and we stopped. So I decided I was going to pop back up and see what the Phoenix Air guys are up to. Now, those not familiar, we call them gray birds. Remember, they're the dark gray Gulfstreams. The agency uses these, okay? These are the same aircraft that flew out of Haiti when the president was assassinated down there, okay? And when I say agency, I'm talking about alphabet soup stuff. You guys know what I mean. I just want to point this out. Remember, the agency uses this. What do you think about that? Not available for live public tracking due to European government data rules. Okay, so these guys are offline. They don't want you seeing what they're doing right now, but evidently they are in Europe. Now let's go over to the sister ship. This is in 173 PA. Same thing. Not available for public traffic per the request of the owner operator. From time to time, these will go offline, then they'll come back online. But currently, given the scenario, they don't want us seeing what they're doing, folks. And then this is the other one in 183. You guys may remember this is the one we track in and out of Africa. About every time we see something big happen, I kind of thought it may be the CDC working. But this is, again, agency bird and doesn't want to be tracked. All right, so just a data point. And then let's get over here to N721AL. These are actually, this is going to be your DOJ/FBI Go team. Just want to show you where they have been. We looked at them earlier this week, rolling in from Manassas. They went down into, let's see, they went to Topeka, Kansas, and then from there they rolled into Houston, down in Texas. And then now they went from Houston up to Nashville. Don't know what they're up to, but looks like Nashville, they're getting a ride back home this afternoon. And then, of course, this is our Secretary of Homeland Security. Just want to show you that they were in Philadelphia. Guess who's coming to Philadelphia today? It's going to be Flashbang. Coincidence? Probably not, right? Okay, listen, that is our 30 minutes. I know I just covered at light speed a lot of stuff, a lot of data, but I just wanted to get all of this in front of you so you can see what is going on. We are being manipulated, folks. I will tell you that without... I know there's no doubt about it. I mean, you can go look at the stuff that's going on and just go look at the history of Ukraine and our involvement since 1946 in the region. And this is all being propaganda being pushed in front of us, left, right, and center from both sides. So it is a good time to really pray for discernment. Don't be led astray. But do know that this is definitely going to plan, and it is going to be March Madness. So that's it. Listen, stay frosty out there. Keep your powder dry. God knows what's coming. God bless. Yeah.
Check out the latest gear and products at monkeyworksus.com.